Welcome back to TH1. Today, let's follow our passionate creator as he brings unique ideas to life through impressive and fascinating home projects. Join us as we explore each step of his creative journey. Let's begin our journey with the first house. During a site survey along a pristine stream, he stumbled upon an enormous ancient tree. This tree was not only impressive in size, but also captivating in its majestic beauty. In that moment, an inspiring and bold idea sparked within him to build a unique house right on the tree's trunk. He began by clearing the brush and plants surrounding the tree trunk and around its roots, creating an open and clean space for the area where his unique house would soon stand. Once the area was tidied up, he set out to gather sturdy bamboo poles and logs, carefully selecting pieces with high durability to bring back to the building site. With the bamboo, he crafted thin, flexible strips, which he planned to use as natural rope for binding materials together. This traditional method of using bamboo strips as ties added a rustic touch and ensured a strong, eco-friendly foundation for his project. He planned to build a 3-story house on this tree trunk. First, he measured the distance from the trunk to the smaller branches. He then cut the wood logs to the measured length and firmly anchored them to the trunk using sturdy bamboo ties. To test the strength, he hung his weight from the beams, making sure they could bear the load. Next, he positioned another log perpendicular to the first, creating a solid framework for the floor's base. He used bamboo strips to secure the joints between the wooden beams, reinforcing each connection to ensure the durability and stability of the framework. Once the frame was secure, he lined up evenly sized wooden poles side by side, meticulously arranging them in one direction to create a smooth, level surface. Using more bamboo strips, he fastened each piece tightly, continuing this process until the entire floor was covered, resulting in a strong and uniform platform for the first level of his treetop home. He then sawed the edges of the wooden platform, trimming them to create a cleaner, more uniform look. Next, he crafted a staircase from the tree's base up to the first level, allowing for easy movement up and down. Using 2 long wooden beams as side supports and several shorter cross beams for the steps, he carefully notched the side beams to securely fit each step. He then tightly bound each step with bamboo strips, ensuring stability and durability. After completing the floor for the first level, he moved on to constructing the second and third floors. The process was similar to building the first floor, but it was far more challenging and time-consuming due to the effort required to lift and transport materials up to these elevated levels. Carefully, he secured each frame joint, ensuring that the structure would be strong enough to support the weight and movement on the higher floors. With patience and precision, he repeated the steps of assembling and binding each section with bamboo strips, checking each connection for stability before moving on. The higher he climbed, the more meticulous he became, as each level added both height and complexity to the structure. The repetition of each stage, from measuring, cutting, and fastening beams to creating the smooth, sturdy platforms demanded both physical endurance and mental focus. To make each floor as sturdy as possible, he paid meticulous attention to aligning the wooden planks and securing them firmly with tightly bound ropes. After investing hours of careful labor, he successfully completed the platforms for all 3 levels of his treetop home. To enhance the safety of the structure, he decided to add railings, a crucial feature for any elevated space. He precisely positioned and secured the horizontal wooden posts along the edges of each platform, placing them parallel and at a safe height above the floor. He replicated this process at each corner and along the edges of the floors below, taking extra care to ensure the railing posts were evenly spaced and well aligned. In addition, he added supporting columns that extend from floor to floor, increasing the load-bearing capacity and enhancing the stability of the platform. This railing not only adds a level of safety for anyone moving between floors, but also brings a subtle aesthetic to the entire structure. After completing the framework for the railings, he turned his attention to building a roof for his treetop home. He decided on a triangular, pyramid-shaped frame, a design that would both complement the structure and provide adequate protection from the elements. To cover the roof, he searched for a type of tree with large, broad leaves. Once he found the perfect foliage, he carefully removed all the leaves, leaving only the sturdy skeleton of the leaf. After gathering a sufficient amount, he transported them back to the construction site to begin roofing his home. He began by placing the leaf ribs at the peak of the triangular frame, carefully laying them diagonally across the roof. From there, he worked his way down, overlapping each section to create a visually appealing and functional roof. After completing one side, he repeated the same process for the other, ensuring the alignment and evenness of the layers. He began by cutting and carving short pieces of wood, carefully assembling them into a square-shaped stove. Once the 4 wooden pieces were securely connected, he added another layer beneath to raise the height of the stove, ensuring it would be functional and comfortable to use. He used finely prepared leaves to line the bottom of the stove. Over the leaves, he spread a layer of earth, further insulating the stove and making it suitable for cooking. He placed a pot of chestnuts on the stove and began to boil them. As the aroma of the roasting chestnuts filled the air, he sat back and savored the meal, which served as a satisfying and hearty lunch after a long day of building. After finishing his meal, he returned to his work. To reinforce the railing on the 3rd floor, he began by measuring the distance between the 2 horizontal posts of the railing. He carefully cut wooden logs to the required length. Next, he positioned the cut logs vertically along the 2 horizontal rails and secured them tightly with bamboo ties. He repeated this process for both sides of the railing, ensuring symmetry and strength. He took a long wooden beam, the same length as the railing, and placed it horizontally across the middle of the post. Next, he turned his attention to creating the dome roof for each floor. Taking advantage of the existing floor platforms, he extended wooden beams from the corners of each floor outward to help define the shape of the dome. He started by working on the 2nd and 3rd floors, extending long beams outward from the corners and connecting them with horizontal cross beams. These cross beams will act as the support structure for the dome, creating a solid foundation for the roofing process. After determining the length of the dome, he cut each piece of leaf bone to the measured length. He needed a fairly large quantity to be able to complete the dome. Using the same method as the main roof, he carefully arranged the leaf ribs diagonally across the beams. As he worked, the roof gradually took shape, with each layer carefully secured with bamboo ties, building on the previous layer. This process required great patience and attention to detail, as the goal was to ensure the final dome would be not only functional, but also visually appealing. He repeated the same process for the remaining dome roofs, carefully constructing each one until the entire house was covered. As he moved from one dome to the next, the house gradually took on its final form. The dome roofs not only provided shelter, but also added a graceful, flowing elegance to the structure. After much time and effort, he completed all the domes of the house. He then proceeded to reinforce the railing on the first floor. On the inner side of the railing, he used the pieces of wood to form a triangular shape. He then took the leaf skeletons again and arranged them along the edges of the triangle, stacking until the entire railing was covered, creating a natural and seamless look. As he arranged the leaf ribs, he carefully used bamboo ties to secure each piece in place, ensuring that the structure was stable and well supported. On the rest of the first floor railing, he used the same slats, but this time he arranged them vertically, placing the strips in a straight line from top to bottom. After finishing the first floor railing, he moved to the second floor, which would serve as the bedroom. To enclose the space, he built two vertical wooden frames with a gap in the center. He then filled the frames by placing leaf ribs horizontally, covering the area fully. This design provided both privacy and a natural aesthetic, seamlessly blending with the rest of the house. On the other side, he started by weaving wooden slats to form a square frame in the middle. Using this frame, he carefully bent a vine branch to follow the shape of the square, creating an elegant arched doorway. Once the arch was complete, he turned his attention to the rest of the wall. He continued by layering leaf ribs over the entire remaining section of the frame, filling in the gaps and covering the space fully. And so his treehouse was finally completed. He started a fire to roast some food, enjoying the warmth and the scent of the meal as it cooked. Once the meal was finished, it was time to rest. He headed up to the second floor, where his cozy bedroom awaited. After a long day of work, he settled in, allowing himself to unwind and recharge for the journey ahead. Next, he moved on to the second house in his journey. While exploring, he came across a mountain with a flat, wide peak. Seeing the potential in the location, he decided that this would be the perfect spot to build his next home. Given the height of the mountain, he knew he would need to build a ladder to reach the peak. He began searching for tree trunks of suitable length to match the height of the mountain. He carefully stripped the bamboo into thin strips, using them to secure the rungs tightly to the wood. With the bamboo ropes prepared, he began assembling the ladder, making sure each step was securely fastened. The sturdy construction would allow him to climb safely to the top of the mountain, where his new home would soon take shape. The first thing he did upon reaching the summit of the mountain was to clear the area where he planned to build his house. With an axe in hand, he began cutting away the branches and undergrowth that surrounded the peak. as well as those hanging over the top. After cleaning up, he set out in search of strong, durable wood to make the frame for the floor. He found several long tree trunks that would serve as the main supports for his house. To lift the logs, he tied one end of a thick vine around the base of each log, creating a secure knot. Then, he climbed the mountain again. Reaching the summit, he used his strength to pull the logs up one by one. After hauling the logs to the mountain peak, he began constructing the floor frame. First, he secured a main log to a sturdy tree at the summit as the primary anchor. He reinforced the surrounding edges with bamboo poles braced against the mountain's flat surface for added stability. Carefully tying everything with bamboo strips, he arranged the logs in a grid pattern, creating square sections for a stable base. Next, he went to gather bamboo to begin covering the floor frame he had built. The bamboo would serve as the main flooring material, creating a smooth and sturdy surface over the framework. To make transporting the bamboo easier, he first measured the width of the floor, then cut the bamboo into sections matching this measurement. He bundled the bamboo into smaller loads for easier carrying up the mountain. Once the bamboo pieces were at the summit, he began laying them across the floor frame, securing each piece tightly with bamboo strips. This task required significant strength and patience. As he worked methodically to ensure each section was stable and securely fastened. After completing the floor, he took a break and sat back to admire his progress so far. But soon, he was back to work, preparing for the next stage, constructing the roof frame. He carefully carved holes at each corner of the floor, which would serve as anchor points for the bamboo beams that would form the roof structure. Before raising the beams, he took precise measurements and cut notches into the ends of each bamboo pole. These notches allowed the beams to fit securely together, forming a stable framework for the roof. He proceeded to insert the bamboo beams into the holes he had carved at each corner of the floor. Carefully aligning each beam, he made sure they fit snugly into the openings, providing a solid start for the roof frame. He decided on a classic design for the roof, a high peak in the center, sloping gently down toward both sides. This shape would provide both shelter and a natural flow for rainwater. Piece by piece, he erected the frame, watching as the structure began to take shape, with each bamboo beam contributing to the strength and stability of the overall design. This familiar yet sturdy design added character to the home, and he took pride in the careful work that brought it all together. With the roof frame completed, he set out to find large leaf plants to use as roofing material. Once he gathered enough, he wove the leaves together to create thicker, sturdier panels that would offer better protection. He then transported the woven leaves back to the construction site. He began carefully layering them over the roof frame, arranging each leaf panel evenly to ensure full coverage and a tight seal against the elements. He made sure to arrange the leaf panels evenly across the roof, securing each one tightly with bamboo strips to withstand weather conditions. Finally, he trimmed the edges to give the roof a clean, tidy appearance. The trap he had set earlier proved successful, catching a wild chicken. He prepared it carefully, cleaning and cooking it over his handmade stove. As the chicken boiled, he took a moment to relax, savoring the aroma that filled his mountaintop shelter. After finishing his meal, he continued his work with a new challenge, building a bridge-like plank from the foot of his mountain to an adjacent cliff. He began by laying sturdy logs horizontally across to span the gap, anchoring them firmly to both sides. To reinforce the bridge's strength, he added support beams underneath, increasing its stability and load-bearing capacity. He measured the width of the bridge platform and cut bamboo into equal lengths accordingly. Carefully arranging the bamboo slats side by side, he created a tight, solid surface for the walkway. Once the slats were in place, he secured each one with bamboo ties, ensuring the platform was sturdy and stable. Finally, he meticulously tied everything together with bamboo strips, ensuring that each piece was securely bound. Realizing that a direct ladder from this position to the house would be too high and potentially unsafe, he decided to add an additional platform higher up for extra stability in his design. Using the edge of the existing platform against the rock face as a base, he began constructing a new frame. He carefully built a smaller platform above the first one, reinforcing it with support beams to ensure it was secure. He then took 2 long logs to create a staircase connecting the smaller platform to the house. Once the base was firmly anchored, he began attaching the stair steps to the logs, securing each step tightly with bamboo ties. Carefully securing them in place, he made sure the structure was stable and secure for safety. To further reinforce the staircase, he added long wooden beams along the sides of the steps, increasing its strength and ensuring it would be able to bear weight without issue. This added support made the staircase not only safer, but also more durable. For added safety, he carefully inspected and reinforced all the joints on the staircase, taking extra time to ensure each connection was secure. He tightened the bindings and checked the stability of every step. Finally, he constructed a shorter staircase connecting the larger platform to the smaller one above. Using familiar methods, he skillfully attached the steps to the support beams, ensuring each connection was tight and secure. With the same attention to detail, he completed the staircase, creating a reliable and safe path from the ground up to his mountaintop home. Now, the entire access route was solid, secure, and ready for use. And so, his journey for the day came to an end. He was very pleased with his accomplishments and eagerly anticipated the next adventure that lay ahead. Thank you all for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming videos. See you next time.